Hey, I'm Butterfly.
Hey, I'm Firefly.
Have you ever wondered if we aren't being told the truth about everything?
What have we been lied to about? Join us as we have conversations and ask questions about everything. We invite you to keep an open mind and consider the unfathomable.
Let's break the chains that enslave our minds. Come on, let's go down the rabbit hole.
What is up, Butterfly?
Hey, Firefly, what's up?
So good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Dude, we're going to do another episode.
Oh my gosh, I've been wanting to do this one for a while.
This one's come up a lot.
I know, I keep talking about this. This is sort of a, sort of a weird oxymoron that I've been thinking about.
An oxymoron is a contradiction in terms.
Yeah, liberal hippies.
Liberal hippies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of doesn't make sense. But so I think this is going to be another two-parter.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I
Yeah,
don't think
there's a lot to unpack.
yeah, because not only are we going to talk about the liberal hippies, but we're going to talk about the conservative zombies.
Yeah.
Okay,
They're
because
part and parcel.
they're out there too,
That's right.
and they're not so very different. Kind of different, but
Well, they're both being manipulated by the same cult.
yeah. Should we talk about the liberal hippies first?
Let's do.
Do you know what? So this is the thing it's been sort of like this conundrum.
hmm
It's been a little bit confusing for me. Like when I think of hippies,
Yeah.
I picture, like the 60s,
hmm
and it was like very like
Free love.
free love and
Flowers in your hair.
yeah, and they were like listening to rock music
Yeah.
and everything was sort of like down with the man.
Free sex.
Yeah, they didn't want like the government to like be involved in their
Remember their
lives.
slogan was like, tune out and drop out and tune
Tune in.
in. Yeah. Just, society is so patriarchal and oppressive. Let's just have sex and play guitar.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're going to get into some of the like, debauchery that took
Yeah.
place in that era. But really my confusion with the whole thing is that so the hippies, you know, back then they were like all this free spirit. They didn't want like the government and stuff. But those people have grown up and they're now all like what I guess they're like in their 60s, right? And
The quintessential example of that is Neil Young.
right. And they're all the ones that are jumping right on board with everything the government is pushing.
Totally. Like Neil Young came out with Keep on Rocking in the Free World.
Yeah.
But then, during Cooties, he was like, don't be talking about ivermectin.
Yeah.
Go take your
Go
go
get
take
your
your
pokey
pokey.
poke. Yeah.
Otherwise I'm gonna remove all my stuff from Spotify.
Yeah.
So that sounds like a tyrant.
They were all doing that. Like Howard Stern,
Howard.
he was a total tyrant.
I'm so afraid I'm just gonna stay in my house with my cats for like 5 years.
Yeah. Everybody needs to get the shot.
Get the shot. We should just kill people that don't take the shot.
Do whatever the government tells you. And
They also kind of prove themselves to be scumbags. Neil Young had brain surgery and he had like this coil put in his brain.
a chip probably.
Probably. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. So I remember I told you I watched some paranormal activity videos yesterday.
Right.
So they had this black guy, he's doing like a video of himself talking. And he goes, I was in the military and I had Elon's chip inserted, and he shows the scar where he had the electrode put in his brain.
Oh my gosh.
And he goes like this, and he goes, you might not get it, but I'm telling you right now, your kids and your grandkids, everyone's gonna have this. And I'm thinking, speak for yourself, bro. I
Yeah.
don't need to
Why did
be.
he get it?
He was in the military, and it was some kind of like, oh, hey, you want to be a part of this program?
And
We're
he's
gonna,
like, sure, put a chip in my brain.
yeah. And now he's an
Yeah.
advocate for it,
Oh God.
and it's
That's
so
like
weird, and
that's
his
like
eye looks weird.
that's like that friend of mine that I told you about who was like, I don't have a problem with them spying on us. I have nothing. I've done nothing
I
wrong.
got nothing to hide.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't know that now. They're not doing anything because you're not coloring out of lines. But once you do, who knows how they can reel you back in once you got a
The
brain
stuff
chip.
that you're doing now might be in the lines now, but it might not be in the lines next week.
And what does calibration look like if you've got a brain chip? What do they do to you that kind of like brings you back? It's like, ooh, kind of like remember that Cartman episode where in South Park where every time he swore he got electric shock? Like maybe that's kind of how it works when you got
Yeah,
a brain chip.
just
So
remotely.
anyways,
But back to the liberal
well,
hippies.
hold
Oh,
on.
you got more?
So
Okay.
Neil Young had brain surgery and he got a
Oh,
so his wife of 30 years supported him through the whole brain surgery and was there by him. And then he gets better, he recovers, and he runs off with Daryl Hannah, who's much younger. And he leaves his wife, who supported him through for 30 years and through his. So he kind of proved himself to be kind of a scumbag.
yeah.
And I think that's what these liberal hippies kind of prove themselves to be.
Hmm. Well, it's just weird. Like, when I go into like a health food store, like
Yeah.
any of the health food store, you always see like those older, like liberal hippies.
Tutsies.
Yeah, they're all shopping for like their natural, like organic vegetables and stuff.
Yeah.
But like a lot of them are wearing masks.
Got a mask
And,
on.
they all went and got the pokey poke. And
Pokies.
I'm like, it just seems really weird to me. And like, so I used to have this neighbor. She was, so it was a couple, and the lady was actually a medical doctor, but both of them were hardcore hippies. And like, they had a big garden in their yard and stuff, and
Okay.
they were vegan. They were total
We
vegan,
don't eat any animals.
no animals. They were super hippie vegans. And in fact, they were so hardcore that like one time I ran out of dish soap and I went over to see if I could borrow a little bit from them. And they had to like dig through like the deepest crevices of cupboards to try to find like this little jar of it that they had,
Yeah.
because they don't use soap, because
Soap is toxic.
soap is toxic and it's bad. They don't use that.
It's the
And
patriarchy.
it's really dangerous. And also like we had to have like some tenting done because of some termites, and they were like really upset about that because it was like so toxic in the neighborhood.
How dare you?
And anyway, all of these things, but
Kind of reminds me of spraying raid on the on the riots.
yeah,
They get really mad.
but then they all got the pokey poke, including their little daughter who was like
So you're
4
vegan.
years old at the time.
So you're vegan. You don't have any meat because it's toxic. You don't even use Dawn in the kitchen because it's so toxic. But then you're gonna roll up your sleeve and you're gonna take the infusion
Yeah,
without asking what's in it.
right. And they got their little girl who was like 4 years old,
We give it to our kids.
pokey poked.
We give it to our kids.
It was so weird to me. Like I don't
I
understand
understand it
this
because,
line of thinking.
well, what we're living in right now is the liberal world order.
Yeah.
The liberals took over when they killed Kennedy in 63.
Mm-hmm.
That was when the liberal order began. And the liberal hippies, they worship the cult.
But those were the ones that were against the like
Vietnam War.
they were against the Vietnam War. They were against the government back in the 60s, but somehow now they're like, everything the government tells them they want to do. Isn't
I
that
think,
weird?
well, I think that they had influencers back in the 60s, kind of like we have. Remember how we talked about the dynamic of the influencers?
Hmm.
So you have people who are artificially propped up
Right.
that go out and do stuff and they become big influencers. And everybody kind of adopts that worldview.
Right.
I think the liberals kind of fell for that. And I think the influencers back then were Bob Dylan and the Beatles,
Yeah.
and the
And
Rolling
and
Stones.
they became the ones that kind of told people what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because back then, like I was telling you about Cape Fear.
Hmm.
Remember I watched that movie, came out in 1964? And all the men walked around with beautiful suits
Yeah.
and hats and nice shoes, and their cars were nice, and the houses were nice, the towns were nice. And the liberals, when they take over, it becomes spray paint,
Yeah.
druggies.
Well, we were talking about this a couple weeks ago, and you made a really good point about how the that whole era in the 60s was sort of like the beginning of like the sort of like the downfall of our civilization, like
We've
the
gradually become
debauchery,
more degenerate.
more degenerate since then. Like in the 50s, it was like nice, clean neighborhoods, and for the most part, it was mostly like people were, they had a little more modesty, and then it started getting like in the 60s is when people started like with the free sex and the,
And you know where you
scantily
can kind of
clad.
really see it is in women's clothes.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like the women were like scantily clad, they weren't wearing bras. They just
Like if you look at how even Marilyn Monroe dressed, she was very conservative compared to, and she was like a sex symbol.
right.
And she would never wear anything that was like ridiculous, you know? Like even that famous Marilyn Monroe where the vent blows up and blows her dress up.
Yeah.
It's a very long dress.
Hmm.
It's not like her ass is hanging out.
Right. But now you would see like, Kim Kardashian or, some other influencer, and
Oh my God.
I mean, all the girls now are wearing G-strings to the beach.
Can I tell you about another paranormal thing I saw?
Sure.
So, they had this weird picture of, do you know who Lana Del Rey is?
Yeah.
So they had a weird picture of her, and her foot was really weird looking.
That might have been AI. They,
Might have been, or
yeah.
she might have had a weird looking foot.
What's wrong with her foot?
It looked like a hand. It looked like fingers, not a
Ew.
toe.
Ew. That's so gross.
And then Kim, they showed her. Oh no, it was not. So Kim Kardashian has a sister,
Chloe.
and there's another one.
Um, yeah, what's Court is it Courtney?
I don't know, but the other one, or it was either Chloe or the other one. They have a picture of her grabbing her handbag, and
Hmm.
someone zoomed in on her hand,
Hmm.
and her hand looks like a lizard.
Oh, that's interesting.
It doesn't look like a female hand. It looks weird.
That's interesting.
And then, yeah, and then they had like all these other cult member girls have these weird appendages
Hmm.
that show up in pictures when they're not doing photo shoots. It's like someone just kind of took a casual picture of them and they didn't have a chance to hide it.
Hmm.
Now, you can be right. It could be just deep fake.
Hmm.
But I don't know. It's kind of weird because I'm kind of starting to think influences are manufactured.
Possibly.
In the 60s, it was the rock guys, but now it's kind of like the glamorous girls,
And the more like it's like the more debauchery, the better. You know what I mean?
like Katy Perry,
Like everybody's got to be like super slutty and just like really, I don't know,
like
kind of gross. Oh,
Miley
Miley.
Cyrus. Have you ever
Yeah.
seen her?
Yeah.
Like she's so sexual.
Yeah.
Like I'm a horny dude, and it's too much.
It's gross.
It's like, dude, okay,
Yeah.
but you know, women can be sexy by still being conservative and leaving a lot to the imagination. That's good.
I don't think
She doesn't leave anything to the imagination.
no.
You
That's
know how she looks.
that's what's happening now. They don't leave anything to the imagination. But I think like my confusion with the liberal hippies is that how did they get so like how did they flip so drastically the other direction? Is it like the debauchery of the leadership?
Well, I'm a bad person
Okay.
and I'm a conspiracy theorist. I think people are followers
Mm-hmm.
and they just drank the Kool-Aid. And in 1963, Kool-Aid started getting served. And that Kool-Aid was be a degenerate.
Right. So at the time, it was cool and hip to be like following the rock bands and
Now we
stuff.
have new Kool-Aid.
Yeah, so they were able to serve that Kool-Aid and get the people that were influencing that group to follow them, and they started.
And what do we know about Kool-Aid drinkers? Can they contradict themselves?
Yeah,
Can they
it
be one
happens.
way
It
and
hap
then be another way?
it happens all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
So now they drank the Kool-Aid back then, and the Kool-Aid back then was like if I was to boil down the 60s Kool-Aid, it was Christianity is oppressive and patriarchal, and let's just free love.
Yeah, and like burn your bra.
Burn your bra and let's just stop being so oppressive. Have sex with anybody. You can do whatever you want. That just be I think the 60s was be an immoral bottomless pit.
Yeah,
That's what's perfect.
totally.
And so they all became immoral bottomless pits.
Hmm.
And immoral bottomless pits, all they do is manage their social credit score and take cues from the media. That's what I'm starting to see.
Yeah.
So if you're in a moral bottomless pit, what we know about an immoral bottomless pit is they have no morality and they're managing their huge appetites
Hmm.
and they take their cues from the media. So liberal hippies are immoral bottomless pits.
Right.
They
And
have
their God is the media. They follow whatever the media is telling them.
so free love now is get your pokies or die.
Yeah.
And
And
they don't have a problem with that.
yeah. And love is love. And
It's like the Offspring, they have that song that goes, don't wanna be controlled, it's all I want, but you gotta get your pokies to come to my concert.
yeah.
It's like, wait a second, dude. You said you don't want to be controlled. It's all you
Right.
want. You
Yeah.
said no, like the song says, I don't want to be controlled. That's all I want.
Yeah.
But now you got to get a pokey to be in the band. You kick the guy out of the band.
Yeah.
So that's not all you want.
No.
So what you're doing is just saying whatever.
They're not practicing what they preach.
I think they lick their finger, they hold it up to the wind, and they go, let's go this way.
Right.
They stand for nothing.
No.
Immoral bottomless pits stand for nothing.
Exactly.
They go wherever they're going to be able to manage their bottomless pit.
Yeah. So all of those liberal hippies that are, from the 60s that are actually now like in their 60s and maybe 70s, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, they're all
80s, some of them. Like Mick
yeah,
Jagger's in his 80s.
maybe, yeah. So they're all just totally going along with the plan and you can spot them. Like you can totally see who they are. Um,
I think a lot of them probably are trying to cheat death too because they know
yeah.
that right when they die, there's a demon going, Neil, how you been? Come on. We've got your fiery roost waiting for you, and you're not going to be rocking in the free world. You're going to be on fire. Come on.
The other thing that I find really interesting is how they like the wealthy ones can be so in favor of so many of the liberal policies that are like all about like more taxes and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like, I mean, like I can understand how like really poor people would be like, yes, we want free stuff, but I don't understand the like business owners who are all for it. You know what I mean? Like you
Well,
would think,
because I think what they realize is that they have a business and they have money because they sucked up to the cult. So they toe the line.
yeah, and I
They
think
don't take any chances.
I think that's a good point. I think there's some level of like guilt, like, oh, I need to like do something for this poor other person. But I think you make a really good point, and I think
You
they
know,
have to,
have you ever heard of um, uh, when someone goes out of their way to try to show how good of a person they are?
oh yeah,
They
like virtue
that's
signaling.
the word.
Yeah,
So virtue signaling.
they're all about that.
So virtue signaling, I heard this psychologist. I don't lend a lot of credence to psychology, but this one psychologist was on Alex Jones, and it
Mm,
was about 2 years ago, and he made an awesome point.
hmm.
That's why Alex Jones kind of trips me out because he'll have guests on there who are gnarly.
He's got great guests.
He had Yeet on.
Yeah,
What was Mike Yeet on?
yeah.
So he's had great guests. So, anyways, this guy comes on and he says, virtue signaling, they've done studies about it. It 100% derives from self hate. So they feel like crap about themselves because they've made their money doing immoral things. They're immoral people
Uh,
and they're disgusting people. So they don't feel good about themselves because they kind of just are bottomless pits that just, oh, I'm just going to go leave my wife and go with you. Yeah. So they kind of, that doesn't feel good when you do that.
yeah.
So they kind of feel like crap about themselves. So doing a videotape of them giving a Starbucks to a homeless guy and then putting on LinkedIn,
Yeah,
that makes
that
them
makes them feel good.
they go, "Oh, look at all
I'm
these
such a good
people.
person.
Everybody's liking and telling me how nice I am."
Yeah,
That's what
I
virtue
did my
signaling
good deed.
is. And
Yeah.
that's how the liberal hippies are.
Hmm.
It's kind of like Celine Dion, you know?
Yeah.
She's on Ozempic and she looks like one of the witches in Macbeth, but she comes out and she gave $1 million to the Katrina victims.
Yeah.
And she makes a big deal about it. So it's like on CNN and they're interviewing her and she's like, I wanted to do what I could. So here's my check.
Her accountant probably called her and said, "You need to we need a tax write-off here." So like,
Well, here's the other thing too is like the Bible says, give with your left hand without your right hand knowing what you did.
hmm.
And give in secret, don't let other people see. Because if you let other people see when you do a charitable deed, you've already received your reward. Because now you're just doing it for people to go, oh my God, you're a good person.
Right.
You're supposed to do good deeds in secret just because you're a good person
Hmm.
and you store up treasure in heaven.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to work. But these people never do a good deed in secret.
No.
Everything's a big to do when they're good deeds. Like
Yeah.
Bono, he was like, "Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. AIDS is ravaging Africa. I'll keep 99% of the money, but give us money." You know,
Yeah.
he's another one of those. Bono,
Yeah. He's a total phony.
he's a phony and he's a liberal hippie.
Hmm.
You know, he kind of had like the almost like Christian kind of ethos
Yeah,
early.
I remember when like they first started, weren't they like put out there as like a Christian rock band?
They totally were.
Yeah.
Some of their early music, I think their heart was in the right place. But I
Yeah.
think what happens with a lot of bands is they come out and they make a big splash just on their honest, earnest offering. But then the cult says, okay, no, like Satan comes and sits down with them. And Satan goes,
They
oh,
have to they have to sign away their soul.
your popularity is waning. You know, people aren't listening to Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For that much anymore. It's a good song, but it's not that popular. It's been about 10 years. So now, if you want to still have a career for the rest of your life, just sign right here, man. And I think that's what happens.
Yeah.
You know who said that? Billy Corgan. He went on Joe Rogan
Mm-hmm.
and I heard him talking about it. And Joe Rogan was like, do these people all sell their souls? And he's like, well, the way it works is if you're awesome and people like you, then you can do whatever you want and they're just going to make money off of you. But they're not going to promote you that much. If you don't capitulate, they're going to be, you can still find your audience, but you're going to have to find your audience through grassroots methods. But if you start to wane and your popularity starts to go away and you start to go, oh my God, I might not be able to have a career as a rock star anymore. I might have to go get a real job. That's when Satan like emails you and says, why don't you come to my office?
That's probably when like Satan is just like waiting right there because they know that these people are getting desperate.
That's inevitable.
Once you have that kind of popularity and then you start losing it, I think a lot of them become desperate to keep it, you know.
Because it's
It's like a
unacceptable.
drug.
It's unacceptable to go back to living like a pleb like you and me
Yeah.
without that fame because that fame is such a
It's a
drug.
drug.
It's so intoxicating.
Yeah.
And so Satan knows that. And he goes, good, good, good. Yeah, no,
If you want another hit, sign here.
you're going to lose that.
And I mean like a hit of drugs
Yeah, you can
and a
still be
hit.
famous. Like, why does U2 still have a career? They go to the Sphere and they still play Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For from 1984. So the only reason they do is because they get promoted. Like I remember I had Apple Music back in 2008,
Mm-hmm.
2009,
Mm-hmm.
and U2 came out with an album that was automatically downloaded onto everybody's Apple iTunes.
Hmm.
So they're just getting
Yeah.
foisted on you.
Yeah.
That always now makes me suspicious
This
of you.
is what we want you to listen to. Right.
And U2 became that. So they must have aligned themselves with Satan.
Right.
And I think the liberal hippies do that.
They do.
They align themselves with Satan and they just go, yeah, 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 no, whatever. And so Satan back then was free love and rock and roll. But now Satan is, no, 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 Palantir and get shots.
So that is like that's the epiphany.
Yeah.
Satan back then was these people were all about free love and rock and roll.
Yeah.
That's what they were following. That was Satan back then.
Because what did free love and rock and roll do? It kind of made us by the 80s become like a decadent, degenerate culture.
Yeah.
Like where you and I grew up, see, You and I grew up in rock and roll. We were born and rock and roll was already the thing. So our
Yeah,
whole lives, classic rock has always been just been playing in the background. I'm starting to think as awesome as classic rock is, it kind of promotes a degenerate worldview.
it does.
You sleep around, you party.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's this is the takeaway from liberal hippies. Life is a party.
Yeah.
Life is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's a party. And we are just managing our party. And that's it. And I think that's what the original impetus was. But now it's not party vibe anymore. Now the liberals are like they all drive Teslas, live in gated communities, and micromanage. And they've all been given like supervisory roles in companies,
Right.
and they micromanage everybody. So your liberal hippie, if you have a liberal hippie from the 60s that is your boss today, that's a nightmare
Mm-hmm.
because they're a micromanaging megalomaniac psychopath.
Right. And they've been following Satan their whole adult life.
And Satan turns them into that.
Mm-hmm.
That's their thing. So that's what's happened is it's not about the liberal hippies ethos.
Mm-hmm.
It's about Satan has different things that he needs to do at different times.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. And maybe in the 60s when these people were hippies and they were like cool or whatever,
Yeah.
that's when it started.
Well, because look
That's when
at
it
like
started.
we were talking about Cape Fear 1960s, everybody's wearing suits. It was mostly white.
It was only the the degenerates that were not
And
wearing suits.
if you even had long hair, have you ever heard somebody talk about
They were
just,
like beatniks.
yeah, a
Yeah.
long haired hippie
Yeah.
back in the 60s? They were really reviled and they were detested them. And now I'm starting to think that was right. Their instincts were correct. The long haired
To-
hippie was the beginning of the corrosion of our values. We
right.
had Christian values. The 50s was Christian values.
Right.
I mean, if you got divorced or had a child out of wedlock back in the 50s, it was a real big scandal.
Right.
You were like, oh my gosh, like ostracized from society.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like almost like a mental hospital for you.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's good, but that's how we had a collective ethos back then. And I
Mhm.
think the 60s was let's destroy that collective ethos.
That is totally it. That's totally it.
So I think we're just beginning to scratch the surface. We might have more to unpack on this one.
Well, I mean, we've talked about liberal hippies a few times, but we kind of unwrapped the liberal hippie section of this. But I think the other side of this is the conservative zombies. And that's the other
Let's talk about them.
direction and the other side that we need to address.
We can talk about
So,
their brainwashing progression.
yeah, because
Okay.
there's a whole thing there too.
It
There's
totally
there's not just, oh my gosh, the liberals. There's also, oh my gosh, the conservatives. You know
like
what I mean?
like Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
Ted Cruz is
Yeah.
serving Kool-Aid, and his Kool-Aid is well, we need to support Israel no matter what it says in the
Right.
Bible.
Right.
So yeah, let's
So
unpack that on the next
so I
episode.
think I think we should like do this in two parts. So
Okay.
part one was liberal hippies, and I think we unpacked that pretty good.
And part two will be
Part
conservatives.
conservative zombies.
Conservative zombies.
Right?
Be specific.
Yeah.
That's because what they are.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll continue this one.
That's
It
awesome.
was
Okay,
good
I can't
talking
wait.
to you.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.